Hello, and welcome back to part two of our series on laying the foundation for inclusivity in the early childhood learning space. In part one, we began our journey by understanding what inclusivity truly means, going beyond simply integrating children with diverse abilities and backgrounds into the same classroom. We explored why creating inclusive environments from the very start of a child's educational experience is so vital, not only for children with disabilities, but for every child to grow into empathetic, open-minded individuals. Now, in part two, we're going to delve deeper into how to make this a reality. We'll explore practical strategies that you, as educators and caregivers, can use to seamlessly weave inclusion into your daily program and curriculum. We'll look at ways to adapt your classroom setup, how to plan activities that embrace diversity, and how to encourage peer interactions that build a true sense of belonging for each child. You'll also learn about the importance of family partnerships, because inclusivity doesn't stop at your classroom door. It extends into the child's home and community, and families play a critical role in making inclusive practices successful. As we move through this session, I encourage you to reflect on your current practices. Ask yourself, are all the children in your care genuinely engaged and participating? Are there subtle barriers that might be holding some children back? And most importantly, what small shifts can you make today to ensure every child, regardless of their ability or background, feels seen, heard, and valued? Remember, creating an inclusive early childhood environment isn't about perfection. It's about continuous growth, intentional planning, and nurturing a culture where differences are celebrated. And keep in mind, inclusion is not a one-size-fits-all formula. Each classroom, each child, and each family brings unique strengths and needs. This means your approach will evolve over time. By being open to learning and willing to adapt, you'll not only enrich the lives of the children in your care, but also grow tremendously as an educator and as a compassionate human being. So let's get started on this next step of our journey. Together, we'll uncover simple, effective ways to build a learning space where every child can thrive. As we continue our conversation on creating inclusive early childhood environments, let's take a moment to look at how these ideas connect with the Kentucky All-Stars Quality Rating and Improvement System, specifically their standards around inclusion. The Kentucky All-Stars system recognizes the importance of building strong foundations not just inside the classroom, but by actively engaging families and supporting every child's unique developmental journey. Programs can earn additional points by implementing inclusive practices that reach beyond typical classroom instruction. Let's start with family engagement activities. These are activities designed to help families understand that children grow and learn at their own pace. By offering hands-on experiences, programs can demonstrate the different ways children develop, whether through sensory play, storytelling, or collaborative games. When families see these developmental stages in action, they're more equipped to support their child at home, and this strengthens the partnership between families and educators. It also makes families feel valued and heard, which is essential for building trust. Next, we have two-way communication. This goes beyond newsletters or one-way updates. It's about creating meaningful opportunities for families to share their insights, concerns, and observations, and for staff to communicate openly about each child's progress. This might look like regular family teacher conferences, informal chats during drop-off or pickup, or even home visits. When parents and teachers work together as a team, children benefit from consistent support across home and school settings. It's important to remember that every child's development is unique, and listening carefully to families can help us tailor our approach. Finally, let's look at transition supports. Transitions can be tough for any child, but they can be especially challenging for children with special needs. Kentucky All Stars encourages programs to plan specific activities that help ease these transitions. For example, before moving to a new classroom, children might visit the space several times, meet the new teacher, or even participate in short play sessions there. Teachers can also prepare visual schedules or social stories to help children understand what's coming next. These small steps can make a huge difference in helping children feel secure and ready to learn. When programs intentionally integrate family engagement, two-way communication, and thoughtful transition supports, they're not just meeting standards, they're creating an inclusive culture where every child and family feels welcomed, respected, and empowered. As we continue exploring how the Kentucky All Stars program supports inclusive practices, let's look at three more important standards that help ensure every child, regardless of their needs, receives the best possible start. First, let's talk about sharing community resources. Building an inclusive early learning environment doesn't stop at the classroom door. Programs are encouraged to connect families with a wide range of community resources that support children with special needs. This might include referrals to local speech or occupational therapists, information about assistive technology lending libraries, or even guidance on specialized recreation programs. By doing this, we not only earn points toward Kentucky All Stars standards, but more importantly, we empower families to find the tools and networks they need to support their child's unique development journey. This partnership strengthens the bridge between school and home, ensuring children get consistent support across all aspects of their lives. Next is developmental screening. High-quality programs make sure that children are screened within 90 days of enrollment, with referrals made promptly if there are any concerns, typically within 30 days. These screenings are critical because early identification is the best way to determine if a child might need additional services. Catching potential delays or concerns early gives us a chance to intervene before challenges grow bigger, setting up children for greater success in the long term. It's a proactive step that truly embodies the spirit of inclusion, ensuring we don't leave any child behind. Finally, we have supporting IFSP or IEP goals. Some children enter our programs already having an Individualized Family Service Plan, IFSP, or an Individualized Education Program, IEP. These plans outline specific goals and strategies tailored to each child's needs. It's essential for educators to not just be aware of these goals, but to actively incorporate them into daily classroom activities. This might mean using particular visual supports, adapting instructions, or modifying activities so that the child can participate fully. When we do this, we're creating a seamless, supportive environment that carries those important goals from therapy rooms and planning meetings right into the heart of daily learning. Together, these standards, sharing resources, developmental screening, and embedding IFSP or IEP goals into everyday practice, form a comprehensive approach that truly supports every learner. They remind us that inclusion isn't just about welcoming children into the classroom, it's about ensuring they thrive there with the right supports in place in partnership with families and community systems. So, as you reflect on these practices, think about how you might strengthen these areas in your own program. Small intentional steps in these directions can make a world of difference for a child and their family. Let's take a closer look at why developmental screenings are truly a cornerstone of inclusion in early childhood programs. Early screening gives us the opportunity to identify each child's unique strengths and areas where they may need extra support, long before challenges grow into barriers. There are many screening tools available, both free and purchased, which help us spot developmental needs early. This proactive step ensures no child is overlooked simply because differences weren't recognized soon enough. Screening is also an important part of the Kentucky All Stars requirements. Programs must complete screenings within the first 90 days of a child's enrollment. It's a standard not only for quality ratings, but for building a solid foundation where every child gets what they need to thrive. Equally important is maintaining open communication with families throughout this process. Sharing observations, listening to family concerns, and explaining screening results in simple, compassionate language builds trust and partnership. It helps families feel they're not alone. We're in this together, working side by side to support their child's journey. Finally, it's vital to be ready with resources and next steps. When screenings show a child may need additional support, having referral information and tools prepared ensures families can move forward without delay. Altogether, developmental screenings are more than a checklist item. They are a powerful tool to champion inclusion, making sure that every child gets the right support at the right time in a nurturing environment that celebrates their individuality. When we talk about building truly inclusive early childhood programs, it's easy to focus on the physical environment or the curriculum. But at the very heart of it all is something even more critical: your teaching team. Staffing and training are the core pillars that bring inclusive practices to life every single day. First, let's think about diversity within your team itself. Having staff who come from varied backgrounds, cultures, and experiences enriches the program in countless ways. It helps children see themselves reflected in the adults around them and fosters a natural respect for differences. When children grow up seeing diversity as a normal part of life, they're far more likely to carry those inclusive attitudes forward. Now, it's not just about who makes up your team, but also how they're prepared and supported. Quality training is essential. Staff need practical tools to adapt activities, manage diverse needs in the classroom, and communicate effectively with families from all walks of life. Training should go beyond general professional development. It should include specific strategies for supporting children with disabilities, cultural sensitivity, trauma-informed care, and even self-care for educators, because caring for others starts with being equipped and supported ourselves. Another important piece is fostering a shared mindset of inclusion. This means that every staff member, from classroom assistants to administrators, understands that inclusion is not a one-time effort or a checklist. It's a daily commitment. Regular team discussions, reflective practices, and shared problem-solving help keep everyone aligned and focused on what inclusion looks like in action. Finally, staffing for inclusion also means having the right ratios and supports in place. For example, if a child has significant needs, it may require additional staff or specialists to ensure they're fully supported. This isn't just about meeting standards, it's about truly creating an environment where every child can participate meaningfully and grow. So when we say staffing and training are the heart of inclusive programs, we mean that literally. It's the people who build relationships, adapt learning experiences, and create a sense of belonging. By investing in a well-trained, diverse, and caring team, we lay the strongest possible foundation for every child to feel welcome, valued, and ready to thrive. As we continue our journey toward building truly inclusive early childhood programs, it's important to pause and reflect on the heart of what makes inclusion possible: the diversity and culture of our own workplaces. This slide invites us to think deeply about four different but closely connected dimensions: visible diversity, cultural richness, sense of belonging, and program culture, and how they shape not only our day-to-day interactions, but also the long-term impact of our programs on children and families. Let's begin with visible diversity. Think for a moment about the faces of your colleagues, past and present. Was there visible diversity in your workplace? Did your team reflect a range of races, ethnicities, ages, or abilities? These are the things that children and families see immediately when they walk through your doors. When families see staff who look like them or who reflect the broader community, it sends a powerful message that everyone is welcome here. But visible diversity is just the starting point. It opens the door to deeper conversations and richer experiences. Next, consider cultural richness. Visible differences might be easy to spot, but there are so many other layers that contribute to a truly diverse and inclusive environment. Did your team include people from different cultures who spoke different languages, practiced varied beliefs, or brought unique life experiences to the table? Diversity of thought and background enriches problem solving, sparks creativity, and provides children with authentic windows into a world much bigger than their own. It helps them grow up comfortable and curious about differences rather than wary of them. Now, let's explore the idea of a sense of belonging. Ask yourself, in what ways did your team's composition impact how everyone felt they belonged? Did staff feel seen, respected, and safe to bring their whole selves to work? Did this sense of belonging extend to children and families, making them feel included and valued? When team members feel secure and appreciated for who they are, they're more likely to extend that same respect and empathy to the children and families they serve. This sense of belonging becomes the soil in which inclusive practices can truly flourish. Finally, let's look at program culture. How did diversity, or even the lack of it, shape your program's culture, your staff relationships, and your decision making processes? For example, did your team's diversity influence the kinds of holidays you recognized, the books you chose for your classroom library, or how you approached conflict resolution? Did it guide how you supported families or responded to community needs? A program's culture is more than its policies or mission statements. It's the everyday interactions, the shared assumptions, and the small choices that build trust, or sometimes unintentionally create barriers. So, as you reflect on these four areas, take a moment to think honestly about your own experiences. What strengths can you celebrate in your workplace's diversity? Where might there be opportunities to grow? Remember, these reflections aren't meant to judge the past. They're meant to inform how we move forward with intention, creating environments that are welcoming, affirming, and truly inclusive for every child, family, and staff member who walks through our doors. As we think about what truly makes an inclusive program flourish, we come to one of its most critical foundations, creating a deep sense of belonging among staff. When staff feel genuinely valued and connected, it doesn't just benefit them, it directly shapes the climate of your entire program and impacts how children and families experience your space. Let's start with empathetic leadership. It's about leading with understanding and compassion, taking time to recognize each staff member's unique strengths and also the challenges they may be carrying. When leaders show empathy, they create a culture of safety and trust, where staff feel seen not just for what they do, but for who they are. Then there's continuous growth. An inclusive program doesn't expect staff to arrive already knowing everything. Instead, it fosters an environment where everyone feels empowered to keep learning, stretching, and refining their inclusive teaching practices. This could look like professional development, peer mentoring, or simply encouraging staff to bring new ideas forward. When growth is encouraged, it makes people more invested and confident in their roles. Maximizing connection is another important piece. When staff have meaningful opportunities to connect, whether it's through shared planning times, informal gatherings, or family engagement events, it helps build strong, supportive relationships. Those bonds ripple outward, positively influencing how staff relate to the diverse families they serve and to each other. Finally, consider the difference between fitting in and truly thriving. When we talk about inclusion, it's not enough to just have people on the team who look or sound different. It's about creating conditions where everyone can show up authentically, contribute their ideas, and excel in their own way. That's what shifts the culture from one of mere tolerance to one of genuine celebration of differences. So when we focus on belonging, we're really shaping the emotional heart of our programs. It means staff feel secure, connected, and inspired to give their best. And that energy, in turn, creates classrooms where every child and family feels welcomed and uplifted. When we talk about building inclusive early childhood programs, it's easy to focus on the children and their families. After all, they're at the very center of why we do this work. But just as important is making sure our staff feel equally welcomed, supported, and appreciated. Because truly, where would we be without them? Our educators, caregivers, and support teams are the lifeline of any program. They're the ones greeting children each morning with a warm smile, planning meaningful activities, and partnering with families day after day. When staff feel genuinely valued and respected, it shows in everything they do. Their sense of belonging directly influences the emotional climate of your center, shaping how safe and connected children and families feel. Imagine walking into a space where you're not just another employee filling a role, but a person whose unique strengths, culture, and contributions are recognized and celebrated. That's the heart of a welcoming environment. It might be shown through simple acts, like personalized welcome gestures for new staff, thoughtful check ins by leadership, or celebrations that honor the diverse backgrounds of your team. These small efforts can have a profound impact. When educators feel this level of authenticity and care, it naturally flows into their work with children and families. The joy, patience, and creativity they bring into classrooms multiply. Families, in turn, sense this positivity and feel more secure in trusting their children to your care. It creates a ripple effect of trust, warmth, and belonging that touches every aspect of your program. So, as we build welcoming environments for children and families, let's remember to start with our staff, prioritize their well being, celebrate their wins, support them through challenges, and make sure they know how essential they are, not just to your program's success, but to the very heartbeat of your community. Because when staff feel welcome and valued, that powerful sense of belonging becomes something everyone who walks through your doors can feel. When we think about building strong, inclusive programs, investing in our staff through meaningful training and support is absolutely essential. It's about more than simply ticking off professional development hours. It's about fostering a culture where each educator feels seen, supported, and inspired to grow. It begins with intentional professional development plans tailored to individual strengths, interests, and growth areas. This doesn't just help staff build skills, it shows that you're invested in their future, which builds loyalty and enthusiasm. Next, we have to be mindful of how we deliver feedback versus criticism. Constructive feedback is supportive and clear, guiding staff toward excellence without diminishing their confidence. By framing conversations as opportunities to learn, we cultivate trust and openness. Personal growth isn't just about formal education. It's also about nurturing curiosity and encouraging staff to explore new ideas, reflect on their practices, and share experiences. This deepens their engagement and keeps our programs evolving. Finally, one of the most powerful things we can do is to be present and open, to listen without rushing, acknowledge challenges with empathy, and celebrate even small successes. When staff know you're truly there for them, they're more willing to take risks, grow, and stay connected to your program's mission. By creating these strong foundations of training and support, we not only elevate individual educators, but also strengthen the entire environment for children and families. Everyone benefits when staff feel equipped, encouraged, and valued. When we talk about creating inclusive environments for all children, One of the simplest yet most profound practices we can adopt is using child first language. This approach may sound small, but it has a huge impact on how children see themselves and how families feel supported and understood. First, child first language normalizes inclusive language for all young children. Instead of leading with a diagnosis or a difference, we lead with the child. We might say, a child who uses a wheelchair, instead of a wheelchair bound child, or a child with autism, rather than an autistic child. This subtle shift places the child before any label, reinforcing that they are so much more than a single characteristic. It also sends a powerful message to families. By using child first language, we show them that we see their child as a person first, not defined by needs or challenges, but by their personality, interests, and potential. This builds trust and partnership with families, who often worry that others might see only the diagnosis. For the children themselves, this language helps cultivate a positive sense of self, beyond any diagnosis or difference. They begin to see that they are valued for who they are, that their challenges are just one part of a much bigger, more wonderful story. This fosters confidence and resilience, both critical for their growth and well being. Perhaps most importantly, child first language encourages us to focus on the whole child, their strengths, talents, and the many ways they contribute to our classrooms and communities. Every child has something unique to offer. And when we lead with language that honors their full humanity, we create a truly inclusive environment where all children can thrive. So, as we continue to build supportive programs, let's be intentional about the words we choose. They have the power to shape perceptions, build connections, and unlock each child's sense of belonging and possibility. When we think about building an inclusive curriculum, we're talking about so much more than simply adding a few new activities or lessons. We're talking about intentionally crafting experiences that embrace every child, regardless of their ability, background, or learning style. This means we must be willing to adapt and customize. Every group of children is different. Each individual comes with unique interests, cultures, languages, strengths, and needs. There is always more we can do to tailor our curriculum so that every child sees themselves reflected in the learning, feels a sense of belonging, and has an equal opportunity to grow. Think about the books we choose, the songs we sing, the celebrations we hold. Are they diverse? Do they honor different cultures and ways of life? What about the materials we provide? Are there options that allow children with varied abilities to participate meaningfully? Adapting the curriculum might mean offering visuals for children who learn best by seeing, hands-on materials for those who learn by doing, or calm spaces for those who get overwhelmed by too much stimulation. It's also essential to remember that children's needs are constantly evolving. A child who might be shy and hesitant at the start of the year could blossom into an eager participant later on. Others might face new challenges as they grow. Our curriculum can't be set in stone. It needs to grow right alongside the children. This requires us to keep observing, listening, and adjusting throughout the year to stay responsive and effective. Finally, we must be willing to embrace flexibility. For some educators, this can be challenging. Many of us like our lesson plans neat and predictable, but inclusion naturally invites more creativity and variation into the classroom. It might mean taking an unexpected learning detour because a child shows deep curiosity about a topic, or finding multiple ways to approach the same concept so everyone can engage. Flexibility doesn't mean we lose structure. It means we allow room for the diverse ways children learn, explore, and express themselves. Ultimately, building an inclusive curriculum isn't about having all the answers from the start. It's about approaching our work with curiosity, compassion, and a commitment to meeting each child where they are. so that together we can create a vibrant learning community where everyone has a place to shine. As we wrap up, let's come back to what truly makes our classrooms inclusive and responsive: deep observation, thoughtful adaptation, following the children's lead, and continual reflection. When we observe deeply, we step back and genuinely watch children, noticing what sparks their curiosity, what challenges them, and how they interact with both materials and their peers. This careful observation gives us the insights we need to truly understand each child's unique learning style, interests, and needs. But simply noticing isn't enough. We must adapt thoughtfully, using what we've learned to shape experiences that invite every child in. This means offering different ways to explore the same concept through art, movement, stories, or hands on activities, so each child finds a pathway that fits them. We also need the courage and flexibility to follow their lead. Sometimes children's questions or discoveries take us in completely new directions. When we lean into these moments, we turn everyday curiosity into powerful learning. This might mean setting aside our carefully crafted plan to dive into a topic that has captured their imagination, knowing that real engagement often lies there. Finally, we must reflect and revise. Inclusion isn't a one-time decision, it's an ongoing process. Regularly asking ourselves, is every child engaged? Are there barriers we can remove? What might we adjust to support them better? Ensures we keep growing alongside our learners. By embracing this cycle of observing, adapting, following, and reflecting, we create a classroom that doesn't just include all children, but truly values and celebrates each of them for exactly who they are.